Thank you everyone very much for joining us here at VanillaTV for the first map in ETF2L Season 11's Week 3 on Gullywash and Freight between Team Infused in the blue trunks and Epsilon eSports in the red trunks. Gonna go into the first middle here with Pledge, myself, and Admirable. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm watching numlocked coming in from the left side right here. Randa decided to go from the floor. Now he's working his way up slowly, but Epsilon are getting loads of frags here initially, even before Randa gets in to do much damage, apart from spamming those stickies up top. And check it out, only dunc and numlocked alive. I think that's going to be something we'll see a lot. Dunc loves to try and stay alive. If his team haven't got those frags initially, he is getting out of there. So it's him and Seb Barton, aka numlocked, in the lobby right now. Still waiting on that Uber to come up. Slight advantage to F2, only 10%, but I doubt they will push on it. Patrick.
Yep, it looks like Infused is going to play it very safe until they have this Uber, and right now they do have it. They're going to move up a little bit, going to cover choke. We should be seeing an Uber versus Uber fight pretty soon here. Both teams are going to poke just a little bit as it usually works. The choke point is a very, very difficult choke to push through, James.
Indeed, there's a pick right there. Gear goes down to numlocked, so that might be all Infused need to push in here. Maybe try and force. Right now I see Dunc is switching up to choke. He's healing up numlocked and he's leading in with Mike right here. Uber is popped and he's been forced to multi actually. Nice positioning right there from Nox and F2, really reading that well. And they have single Ubered to that multi Uber of Infused, and the fact that they had to Uber in first meant that there was a massive advantage right there for Epsilon, but they didn't do enough damage and they knew they shouldn't push through right there. So they're going to try and work the angles again and get another pick right here, slowly peeking in.
Epsilon is actually quite aggressive and greedy here. You can see Nox trying to push his way through the choke point with 300 HP. That's the way you want to do it. You buff up your soldier. He is going to see if he can make something happen. If he can, just back out, build that Uber. We have a little bit of downtime here, I presume, even though Mike gets spammed like completely crazy. So I'm going to do the lineups for just a little second. In blue, we have Team Infused with Flisko and Mike on soldier, Greg and Cookie on scout, not you on medic, and we have numlocked playing demo. And in the red trunks we have Stefan, who hearts me. I love you too, Stefan, on scout. Together with Walters, KnOxXx playing soldier, F2 is playing medic, and Randa, who's getting completely decimated there on demo.
Yeah, that was unlucky right there. Randa was trying to hold choke alone because F2 had called for his combo to push around the flanks there through big door, and Infused have come around and stopped the back cap as well. Although only Mike against 3 now, spawns coming in. Those 2 that died in the initial push for Epsilon are back up, and it is Mike against Gear. Gear on the spy right here. He's super low. Mike's going to get that med pack. Will he contest? He's up already. Gear just playing with the shotgun here. MGE Spire style, but Mike says, what's up? Rocket to the face, son.
I don't think Gear had any ammo left anymore. I think that's what cost him in the end there. Obviously it was low health. We can see a little bit of an off situation right now where both teams have about 10 to 15% Uber. No team is absolutely close to having it. I don't see any snipers just yet, do I? Yeah, we can see Walters playing sniper. I don't think he's going to get anything done, but on the off chance that he does, that is immediately a pushing advantage. We can see a soldier coming in from the back, taking down Walters, but at what cost? It's a soldier for a down man, and numlocked gets taken out. And yeah, it's a good advantage here for Epsilon. They are going to push on this 60 to 50%. They even have the Uber advantage right now. They do find Dunc there. And even though the shot on Greg does not land, Nox is doing a lot of work for his team, getting Greg crated, and they know there's some sort of a scout behind. We can see Randa kind of looking around. They find the scout. It looks like Epsilon is going to pick this up with ease, and even with this Uber advantage, they might just stroll straight down to last.
Yeah, that was really nice there on middle from Epsilon. Really stacked to that flank and picked off all those Infused players who were trying to make something happen. Mike went down. And then it was just a bit of a landslide right there, and they were able to take this point quite easily. Sitting at 100% Uber each here. We see Walters using that scope right now. He's going to try and get a pick before they push, and I am trying to find him urgently. He's going riverside. He's alone, but he's staying back. I'm curious as to what he's going to do here. Obviously once he peeks he's going to get focused down instantly, so it's basically one shot at most. He's got the body shot charged up. He sees numlocked.
He sees him, but he takes it easy. He doesn't go for the shot. He could be very greedy and gets picked off, but it's a bit of a high risk, high reward thing. Cookie gets taken out. They probably want to push on this, but even because you have a sniper, it's essentially 5 versus 5 until the sniper actually does make something happen. We can see Nox is going to suicide, and dunc is going to have to pop. Very well played to knocks there. And the right play here for Epsilon would be to retreat out and push in a little bit later. It looks like that's not what they're doing. They're just going to push in from Riverside entrance. They are going to come in now. Medic gets picked off. Well, nice shot there by wltrs. And the Pyro is not going to be able to do anything there. Frags are coming in, and Epsilon is going to make it 1-0.
Wow, all the PCW practice in the world doesn't help whenever Epsilon just pick you apart like that. Cookye overextended there. I think that was the real catalyst in that push. Uncharacteristic play from him, but really just Epsilon have Infused at their mercy, taking picks where they see fit and then playing them like a fiddle right there.
See how this middle is going to go as we see both Epsilon soldiers coming in. One gets blocked off on the right side. KnOxXx going on towards the point, but F2 keeps into the valley to get away with Randa. Scout is going to try and assassinate Randa right now. Randa is quite tagged. He does not get taken down.
Gear gets dunc at the same time. Gear goes against 4 Infused players right there. I'm not sure if he came from the drop down, like jumped up it, or just came up the slope, but he was totally undetected right there. And picked out dunc before anybody had even the chance to focus him down. And that is a massive advantage yet again for Epsilon.
Yep. Seems like Epsilon is doing quite a good job of just keeping their medic alive, keeping the core of the team safe, as much as possible at least. Flisko getting a pick on Knox, but Knox actually returned to favour picking off Mike. So Epsilon's going to pick the second point. Don't think Infused can do anything. They're going to suicide a soldier in, trying to pick off F2. That's not going to happen. Is he going to be able to force an Uber? Yes, he does. Good play by Flisko. A little bit lucky, but to be honest, that's what you're going to need in big games like this.
Yeah, he got sent skyward by those stickies, and then Gear actually gets juggled forward by numlocked stickies yet again. That was pretty insane. Those stickies are just like jump pads from Quake on crack, launching you all over the map right there.
I think that was a perfect comparison, James. I'm digging that one, and we probably should be seeing Infused pushing here. I'm just going to reload my HUD. I suggest the streamer does the exact same thing because dunc's name is normal. We can see that yeah, Infused is going to look to push here. You can see numlocked going a little bit ahead. They have a 30% advantage. Going to be a little bit close because at the moment they push in, F2 will have 80 to 85, and that's exactly what they have right now. Infused kind of covering big door first. Now they're going to see how they can do on choke. F2, 98%, 99, and he is going to have it in time. Is there any backup going on? It doesn't look like it. And it's a 6 versus 5, 5 versus 5 exchange, and there comes the backup.
Oh, nice. Stefan, unbelievable.
Called it before the game, James. It's a backup map.
I was just looking at the number of players right there in that battle, and I was like, there's one too few here for Epsilon. Yep. Then in comes the backup, Stefan, one step ahead of the opposition right here.
The thing is, Infused even let a soldier stay on last as well, so he just took him out, and yeah, it was arranged there. You can see actually 2 Epsilon scouts being very aggressive here across the point. Mike gets blocked off in mid-air. Stefan gets picked off on the other end, and it looks like the demo man goes down early, soldier goes down early, and everyone from Infused just seems to be dying one by one.
Yeah, I think Infused scouts sort of let down numlocked right there. He didn't have the cover from that bomb and soldier. The 2 scouts got distracted by what was going on the floor, and no one played tight to Seb right there. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit mad, but he just got like straight bombed. Like there was no skill to that one. Jumped straight up, fired a rocket at his feet, juggled him into the wall, and he was down. No demo man, no glory. This is TF2 Demo Man Fortress.
Sniper getting picked up by Stefan now. Not sure how much I like that decision. Obviously it's an Uber versus no Uber situation on last. If Epsilon pushes this early and with 2 scouts, that could have really hurt a lot more. If they wait though, because obviously dunc got out of middle, they don't know how much Uber percentage he actually is. Obviously they could have pushed in right now. They're not going to do that. They're going to play it a little bit safe. See if Stefan gets a pick here. Greg is going to counter snipe that. Let's see how Greg is going to play against Stefan. But snipers are getting above Stefan, peeking on top left hand side. Not going to make anything work just yet. But teams just patiently waiting. See if no one gets picked off. Obviously Cookye needs to keep his hands on his keyboard instead of throwing them in all the way on his W key.
Yeah, a lot of people think of wltrs whenever you think of who snipes for Epsilon, but Cookye is, Stefan is actually an unbelievable sniper. I played PCW against the German mix the other night, and sometimes they just like to gamble against snipers, but this guy doesn't miss, man. You can't gamble, and the Ubers have been forced, and counter Uber popped right here. Cookye leading the charge. Up onto the balcony, gets gear.
Where's
but
Walters?
F2 is safely positioned right here.
Yeah, there he is. There's Walter. See, I was already looking for him. He was on the last point, forcing Infused to retreat. Now they're going to go back in. Stefan does not get the shot off. numlockd's going to try to actually make sure that he doesn't get the space that he needs. But whenever I speak to players from Epsilon, they always say, you know what, Stefan is just a better sniper than Walters. I don't know why people think it's usually Walters. Maybe it's because he's off-glassing a spy more often than anything, but Stefan is the sniper they look out for, and he does now get picked. But on the other part, here we go. Gear and Nox is bombing in, taking them players left and right. And now Randa is coming in to clean everything up. He is coming in. Is he going to be able to manage it? There's a scout and a soldier all over his face at the moment. Scout on his medic does get taken down. Well played. Now just Mike at last. I think Epsilon are going to wait for this Uber, wait for their players to respawn, and then they're going to push in. Or are they just going to go in and make me look bad? That's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, Randa gets dropped though. Unlucky F2. Even the best in the game drop Ubers sometimes. He does manage to save his scout right there. And Stefan just goes ahead and picks up one on Cookye. And they're just going to keep the pressure on here. This is a stream of players moving on to the point right now. Stefan's made a play for the point, but he's got shut down. And F2 is able to survive without issue. Dunc goes down. Unbelievable. Gear just bombs in from the flanks there. Oh, he's going to be mad. He had worked up quite a little advantage there. Unlucky, bro.
Double revenge on Gear. Gear's going to be mad. He wanted those 2 dominations on the scoreboard.
Well, that's just the percentage play. You can jump in and die 5 times and then get that one pick that changes the game.
Here we go. We can see Greg and Mike get taken out trying to do the exact opposite, but F2 manages to stay alive. 65% against the 6% that dunc has at the moment. They're going to wait for this Uber charge like they probably should have last round, because obviously, as I said, it would have been better if they would have just waited for their players. Now they're going to do that. They have 6 players. They have 100%, and now it's an Uber versus no Uber advantage. How do you push this, James? Is it exactly what Epsilon is doing right now, which just bombed the mid and covered a point?
Yeah, you can't really gamble coming around that blind corner. There's nearly always stickies there. numlocked does get dropped. Interesting, or numlocked drops Randa actually. Interesting sticky position right there. He had them on the floor, and as soon as F2 lowered his Uber onto Randa, he went down. There was such action going underneath as well. Cookye versus Stefan and Greg. Stefan only manages to take down 1 in a 2-on-1 situation, but hey, that's not bad. Against some of the best scouts in the game. Walter's sniping again.
I was actually looking at that. Stefan had 50 health against Greg's 185, and Stefan took him down with 2 meat shots. That was a little bit of an unlucky situation for Greg. If he would have stayed alive there, I think they would have had a much better shot at pushing this. Obviously now he does spawn, but the push is a little bit delayed. Stefan does get taken down, so it's a little bit of a weird scenario for Epsilon at the moment. It's a 6 versus 5, no Uber versus a complete Uber. Greg gets on the point, and this is how you want to do it, guys. You want to try and make sure you don't have to Uber. And just get your scouts on the point. Make sure you cap it, and obviously you can see Cookye and Greg capping it off while the heavy clauses are locking down both choke points. And that's the way you want to do it. One soldier now goes into drop down. Let's look at Mike. They have spotted Mike though, so they know he's coming from the bottom. And here he comes. He goes onto the point, gets a sticky or pipe in the face. Uber versus Ubers both getting exchanged here onto this middle point. And it looks like Epsilon's going to get the bend and end. There's 1, 2, 3 getting the frags. 4 frags now. And Infused is getting decimated here.
That was a total train wreck push right there from Infused. It was like 3 of them pushed with the Uber from choke, and I think they were expecting their teammates to back them up right there, but nobody actually came in from the big door, and instead everybody ran back to the big door, just making it so easy for Randa to get massive damage in there, just raining stickies in. And I think that was a total breakdown in communication right there, and Epsilon sitting with another Uber advantage yet again, ready to push onto Infused. Last Walter's sniping. He's got that scope. He's on the Riverside. He's with Randa right here. He's peeking in. He sees dunc on the body shot.
Oh, it's so cheap, James, but I love it when it happens. The sniper's just feeling cheeky. You can see Walter's running around just feeling happy with himself, because you know what, he managed it again, and now we can see the second time around. 6 versus 4, Uber versus no Uber, even though the players from Epsilon kind of weak. Stefan now getting the map back. Pyro's covering F2 as much as possible.
Positioning from dunc right there, standing in line of sight of a sniper is exactly how you want to play TF2, guys. Keep up the great work, Duncan. And yep, that's 3-0 to
he obviously
Epsilon
wanted the
right
Epsilon
now.
there, and he did a perfect job.
Yeah, he baited that sniper shot from Walters. Excellent work, Dunc. And looks like
City,
Epsilon
we see the somewhat aggressive play of Infused here. Epsilon is just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. Now they're going to walk forward. We can see a lot of pressure coming in from the Epsilon players. Stefan is even leading the charge. numlocked gets taken out. Goodbye by Randa. And 1, 2, 3 again. 4 players now down. It seems like dunc is the only one actually managing to get out of middle points in general. And for the rest, Infused is just committing too much, I feel.
Yeah, I think that's just a standard from dunc. He feels that if his team is going to play aggressive, he's just going to get out there. There's no point in him.
Want to talk about aggressive, James? Here we go. Epsilon is into last. They haven't even capped second yet. And you can see that dunc did get taken down, and now Epsilon's getting a couple of frags in. Not sure if that was completely worth it, though. They are going to cap this second point, and they should be pushing back in quite soon, or building this Uber. I'm not quite sure what their decision is going to be. But yeah, it looks like they're going to wait for the Infused Rage to completely buckle down. And after that, they're going to build this Uber, play it safe, and push in. Uber against no Uber. That's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, it probably isn't the best idea to push 3 against 6 like that. But in one sense, they are really not allowing Infused to get set up for defense in last. Like, Infused defense is notoriously strong in last. And they just keep going in and trading players when they know they can get out. They take dunc down again and go out, and at no point during this period have Infused had 6 up to defend. And now they're going to roll in here with a massive player advantage.
Yep, and Epsilon, here we go. Player advantage, Uber advantage, everything is happening. We can see Greg spawning. It's probably not going to matter, though, as Epsilon is making a play for the point, getting Greg down, getting dunc down, and one after the other, the Infused players are falling. And it's going to be 4-0 unless a miracle happens. And the miracle is going to wait a couple of seconds more to see if it's going to happen. It's not going to happen, 4-0. And Epsilon is just going to keep it up, keep that train rolling. And I just want to say, before we hop into the next middle, I want to apologize to everyone on the stream as Warden's TF2 crashed for just a little second. We should be back now into this game. It's 4-0 to Epsilon. The point took a very long time to cap, but it was a very straightforward push. You haven't missed anything. So we're back into this action, James. What's happening? Is Infused finally picking it up?
They're trying to get players onto F2 right here. Flisko bombs in unsuccessfully. It just seems like Infused are so happy to trade their soldiers here. Just look at the scoreboard. They're both on 10 points, just propping up the bottom of the scoreboard. They keep trying to bomb F2, but KnOxXx is just always there to defend him, and he's usually swarmed with red players. I mean, have they not figured out 4 rounds later that it's not working? They need to change it up. They need to try and push more as a team rather than trying to do these heroics. But they've got a terrible position right here. numlocked is just coming in, landing sticky after sticky right there. Takes KnOxXx down before F2 can react. They have Ubered, but no Uber popped yet for dunc. And
you'll probably see the soldier roaming in, actually. I expect the soldier from Epsilon. I didn't actually see him. Yeah, he's trying to roam in as much as possible. He's probably going to get taken down there. Gear does get taken out. And yeah, Epsilon going to play it safe just for now. Ubers again are equal, but it's going to be 6 versus 5. Infused is going to slow push this in. Probably want to take the second point as long as Gear is down, which is going to be another 5 to 6 seconds. Infused seems to be very passive so far, though. They're going to try to push through here, but if Epsilon gets 1 or 2 picks, I can assure you that Epsilon is going to want to push back.
Yeah, absolutely. They're 4 rounds down in 12 minutes on the clock. dunc gets that Uber, so that was beautiful right there. Oh my god.
Wow.
Infused cleaning up right here.
Here comes Gear, he gets 1 pick, but wow, Ubersol coming in onto Randa. That was the first thing that I noticed there. dunc getting 1 or 2 Ubersols. I didn't exactly saw what it was, but Randa's going to be the first to spawn, and he's going to have to do some heroics. But as we can see, he gets taken out. It's going to be 4-1, and Infused might be back into this because of the heroic deeds that numlocked did earlier onto the middle point.
I didn't see exactly what happened right there, but I can say that it worked.
Yeah.
I just wonder, is this going to be a... We've seen Epsilon actually take some leads in recent games and just throw them away. Are they going to actually lose quite a few rounds in a row here? It wouldn't be unlike them. Will they remain focused? numlocked coming in from the floor this time, just like Randa has been doing for every round of the game, but he's gone down to wltrs as he tried to go up that ramp aggressive. And Stefan and wltrs are just cleaning up here. Randa even gets one. That's 4 frags from the scouts at Epsilon right there.
It's the same thing. Look at this. dunc is on his way to spawn. He's already there. That's how quick he ran out. And we can see Epsilon doing the exact same thing. They're going to push it with Uber. They're going to come in from Riverside. They're going to come in as early as they possibly can with a soldier and with a demo man. You can already see Randa trying to spam in. They're going to come in just a second from now as they now have Uber. And here we come. Air shot coming in, but it's not going to help because it's Uber versus no Uber. And Infused is going to have to run for their lives into a spawn that is being covered by a cap, and it looks like Randa is going to try to do as much damage as you possibly can. As we can see, F2 going towards the point. Randa coming in from the bottom. F2 gets the needle kills. It's 5-1. It's all about the middles, James. It's all about the middles.
Yeah, the fact that dunc isn't really committing might be an issue. I don't know if that's something Epsilon have identified, but at the same time, it is a smart play. If he thinks he can't survive, he's keeping his team in the game.
I don't think dunc has died a single middle of the 6 yet so far, but that doesn't have to be a bad or a good thing. Like, I mean, obviously it's good to keep your medic alive, but I'm not sure whether him committing is going to be a good or a bad thing. I think numlock's actually calling it right now that he has to stay in.
And bombs in and takes out F2.
Well played from Mike there. They're getting a couple of frags and 4 frags already with Randa and Walters getting out of there alive. And you can see dunc really committing there. I think it was numlock's call saying, you know what, let's just commit all the way and see how that works out. We're 5-1 down anyway. Walters now gets taken out and dunc managing to get the Uber early. And apart from just Randa, yeah, everyone from Epsilon did go down in the end.
Yeah, I don't imagine that it's dunc's policy just to fall out every middle. It really depends on how much damage they do in those initial seconds. But obviously we're just second guessing him here. He is a much better medic than I. And they're sitting with a big Uber advantage here.
Let's put that in front.
Just step on Pyro.
Infused is going to go, and this Pyro is going to be very important. We spoke about this a lot of times that we caused the Gullywash. Pyro is very important, but we can see that Infused is going to choose to make the play for the point instead of for the kills. Is that going to kick him in the nuts? It doesn't look like it just now, as Infused is going to pick this up 5-2. I'm going to be looking at dunc because I'm not 100% sure if committing is going to be an issue, but it's one of the things that we really noticed compared to the first middles. So let's see how dunc is going to play this out together with numlocked. Obviously the two have to be very close because numlocked is going to be the heart of the damage of the team. And let's see if Mike is going to be able to pick off F2.
Both demo men coming in from the floor again, and it is Infused here making the initial aggression on the point. Wow, Epsilon getting those early frags. Greg and Cookye just getting focused down right there by KnOxXx and Randa. That was really nice, and they're going to take this one quite easily. Dunc has stayed alive though, as we would expect. But he's not with numlocked right now, so he's losing any Uber advantage. Or any chance to equalise those Ubers. He is back in spawn, that's how much he wants to stay alive. He's got a Pyro to build here, that is not great.
Maybe he can drop down from high ground or something.
Uber's
coming in though. Bit of a weird scenario here where dunc is still 40 HP. He manages to get, well, I wouldn't say get out alive, but he manages to stay out alive. Soldier's now coming in though. Is he going to be able to pick dunc? 60 HP, he does get taken out. Well played by the soldiers from Epsilon, and now KnOxXx and Walters are raining havoc all over the Infused player. 6-2. It's a lot higher score from Epsilon that we've seen in a long time against Infused.
Yeah, just I guess Infused haven't been getting in enough practice against Epsilon. Or maybe Epsilon have been holding back some strats, but it's really interesting to see how the mechanics of these middles are working out with dunc staying alive. That time he didn't even have time to get Uber up, even though he did stay alive. I wonder would it have made much of a difference if he'd committed with his team.
Wow.
But maybe we're over-focusing on that. And look at those aggressive players getting focused down yet again for Epsilon. Or for Infused by Epsilon. And this is just... It's like every time Infused went around Epsilon just saying that.
It seems to be trademark Epsilon at this point in time that they literally, before they cap second, they're just going to push into last. Like now they know that dunc actually has this Uber, but they want to consistently play that Uber versus no Uber style. Obviously it works a lot better. But they choose to be very, very greedy with it, and now we're probably going to see a regular Uber versus Uber scenario. Don't think Epsilon is going to hold this back. We can see Greg. I always feel a little bit iffy when I see this, James, and I just want to bring this up. When you have 3 or 4 players together on the left top side, like Infused is having right now, it always feels like you're very vulnerable to just spam from Riverside. When that Uber finally does get popped, it's very tough for a medic to keep everyone buffed while that Uber charge is going on, because there's just a lot of players to heal in the same area.
You don't really want to be committing with too many. Like, you got to spread out, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're actually trying to push out here. Infused recognising that they're at massive disadvantage, and they have Ubered first here. And last time Epsilon just went down Riverside, and it looks like they're going to do that again.
They're doing it again. Here we go. 3 players into last. They pick off Cookye first, and Infused is going to have to run. It's exactly what they're doing. They're coming back in, and Noble's going to have to spam the point. He's not doing it just now. Is the point going to get capped? It does not look like it just now. But anyone from Epsilon on the point would completely seal the deal right now, and it does look like it. 7-2. First map goes towards Epsilon here in ETF2L Season 11, Week 3, the first game from Infused, the third game from Epsilon, here with Pledge and Admirable on CP Gullywash. 7-2 was the overall storyline. Stay tuned for Freight, because we're gonna have a cycle map in just a second. Thanks for watching here at VanillaTV. Stay tuned for Freight in just a second. James analysis. What happened?
Well, Gabriel Longus from Tryharders just messaged me there in Steam, and he's like, you need to discuss the difference in frags right there from the soldiers. And like we said earlier, it was the Infused soldiers who were propping up the bottom of the scoreboard for them. And if you compare that to KnOxXx, who had 3 dominations, he had like 36 and 40 from gear. And it's just like, Infused are so eager to sacrifice their soldiers